failure, it's real. But this book taught me to face it head on, with realistic worst-case scenarios that actually boosted my confidence. Since reading it, I've started new projects and pursued my dreams without hesitation. Life-changing. Ready to break free from your own limitations, grab the future tense trap now and start living the life you've always wanted.
Have you ever looked at a team? A really talented team, just filled with smart, capable people, and wondered, why are they moving faster? Why do they seem so stuck? It's like there's some invisible force holding them back, right? Well, today, we're going to find that force, and we're going to figure out how to break it. And it all starts with a story about an animal that should be absolutely unstoppable. Okay, I want you to picture this. A 5-ton elephant, an animal that could literally uproot a tree, just standing there perfectly still, and the only thing holding it in place, it's a thin little rope tied to its leg, and that rope is anchored by a tiny wooden stake in the ground. Now let's be clear, the elephant isn't weak, and that rope is definitely not strong. So here's the big question. Why? Why doesn't this magnificent, powerful creature just take a single step and snap that rope? The answer isn't about physical strength. It's not in the rope at all. It's in the elephant's head. It remembers. It remembers being just a small calf when that same rope was actually too strong for it. It tried, and it failed. And in that moment, it learned a powerful lie. I can't break this rope. All right, so let's bring this idea out of the jungle and straight into the office, because this exact same thing is happening on our teams every single day. The ropes just look a little different. They're not made of hemp. They're made of company culture, old stories, and, all those unspoken rules. Psychologists actually have a name for this. It's called learned helplessness. It's what happens when you're stuck in a bad situation for so long that you eventually just stop trying to get out, even when the escape route is wide open. And listen, this isn't just some soft skill issue. It's a huge hidden drain on your company's potential, bleeding productivity one tiny hesitation at a time. And you hear the symptoms all the time, right? When an employee says, our process is just too slow, what they're often really saying is they feel tied up by the "we've always done it this way" rope. When they complain about needing more approvals, they're pointing right at that invisible rope of micromanagement. See, these aren't really process problems, they're belief problems. And all these ropes, they create something that I call the hesitation tax. Think about it. It's the price your business pays every single time a brilliant employee pauses to second-guess a decision or waits for permission they really shouldn't need. It's this massive invisible tax that just drains speed and innovation right out of your company. This quote really nails it. It reminds me of what I called the ghost of managers past. Maybe 5 years ago, some employee pitched a bold new idea, and a VP just shut them down in front of everyone. Well, that VP's long gone, but the memory, the ghost of that event, is still tethering the team. They aren't being held back by today's reality, but by the memory of a culture that might not even exist anymore. So if that's the problem, then what in the world is the solution? Well, it turns out there's a hidden variable in the equation of high performance that most leaders completely, totally ignore. And it's what I call the belief multiplier. We are obsessed with competence. We hire for it, we train for it, we give bonuses for it. We look at skills, fancy degrees, and years of experience like they're a V12 engine. We just assume that a bigger engine automatically means you're going to win the race. But here's the thing. We completely forget about the other part of the equation. Belief. Belief is the confidence to actually use that confidence. It's the fuel line for that V12 engine. Because you know what? It doesn't matter how powerful your engine is if the fuel line is pinched shut by fear and self-doubt. You're going to get smoked by the team with a little V6 engine that just knows how to put the pedal to the metal. So the real math for execution is this. Performance isn't competence plus belief. No. It's competence times belief. And as you'll see, belief has this outsized impact. It's almost like it's a squared variable, turning these little sparks of confidence into a massive explosion of results. So why squared? What's the deal with that? Well, it's because confidence isn't just additive, it's a multiplier. It doesn't just add a little bit to your skill, it scales it. It's the thing that lets someone apply all their competence in those high-stakes, high-pressure moments when other people freeze up. It is literally the difference between potential and actual performance. And this all brings us to a really critical question for every single leader out there. What's your role in all this? When you look at the rope, are you the one managing it, or are you the one trying to help your team break it? Let's look at two kinds of leaders. First, you've got the zookeeper. The zookeeper wants to control strength and minimize risk at all costs. They're constantly tugging the rope to keep things in line, and their go-to question is, can we? Then you have the liberator. The liberator's goal is to release strength and manage fear. They don't tug the rope, they cut it. And their question is always, how will we? You know, the great Peter Drucker said that yesterday's logic is the biggest danger when things get chaotic. And that's zookeeper logic, control, minimize risk, protect the asset. That is pure 100% yesterday's logic. In the world we live in today, the real risk isn't trying something and failing. The real risk is standing perfectly still because you're tethered to old ways of thinking. Okay, so how do we do it? How do we actually shift from being a zookeeper to being a liberator and break these invisible ropes? Let's walk through a simple, actionable framework. It really boils down to 3 key things. First up, psychological safety. This just means making the cost of failure learning, not fear. It's about creating an environment where a smart risk that doesn't pan out is seen as a good data point, not a career killer. Second, engineer micro-wins. Look, you don't ask the elephant to snap the thickest rope on day 1. You build belief by giving your team slightly thinner ropes to break first. You build momentum. And third, radical transparency. As the leader, you have to go first. You share your own doubts, your own failures. That gives everyone else permission to be human too. Let me give you a quick, concrete example of this. I know a CTO who had this amazing developer who was just terrified to push new code. So what did the CTO do? He gave him a failure budget. He told him straight up, I expect you to break our test site at least twice this month. If you don't, it means you're not moving fast enough. He didn't just cut the rope, he literally turned the mistake into a metric for success. Brilliant. So I'm going to leave you with this. Tomorrow, when you look at your team, don't just look at their output. Look for the hesitation. Look for the pause. Ask yourself, where are they tethered by an invisible rope? And then, you have to ask yourself the hardest question of all. Are you, without even realizing it, the one holding the stake in the ground?